Hello, Mewgenics fans all around the world. Welcome to my Mewgenics talk. I don't know what it's going to be called, actually. We'll figure that out once I get to the point where I'm titling the video on YouTube. But what this is going to be, it's something I've wanted to do for a while. I thought it'd just be fun. You know, I could throw something out into the ether, the internet world, for people to watch if they want to watch it. And I would want to watch it. I love listening to people just talk about things they like. And I like the video game called Mewgenics, created by Edmund Macmillan, and chances are if you clicked on this video, you do as well. This is going to be a multi-episode thing. Even if nobody watches, I don't care. So, if there's one guy who really likes this, I'll keep doing it for you, buddy. You won't have to go a day without this. You will have to go a day without it. It'll be weekly, most likely. But this is going to be an all possible Mewgenics topics. I don't know, I guess podcast would be the word. I don't like saying that, because it makes me feel like I'm 40, and I'm not, I'd get canceled really fast by saying it's a podcast. But I guess that is the best term for it. There's going to be gameplay on the screen of Mewgenics. If you thought it was going to be of anything else, you probably, maybe you need to be in school instead of listening to this, because clearly you don't have much ability to pick up on context or infer things, but that's besides the point. Even if you are stupid, you are also welcome. I welcome the idiots, I welcome the fools, because I am one of you. Currently, I am walking around my house. I was gonna go outside, but there's a horrible bird. It's very loud. It sounds like a screaming child or really strange woman. It screams two times in a row, and then it stops just long enough for me to think I might be able to record outside, and then it starts up again. So that was a bust pretty fast. Hopefully, I can do that another time. I don't go outside very often, so that was gonna be fun. That was gonna be nice. But now we can't do it, and that's alright, because, you don't need to be outside to talk about Mewgenics, which is what we're doing today. I haven't even gotten into that. I've just been talking about horrible birds, and me in my house, and how dumb people on the internet are. I should be talking about cats in a video game, and that's what we're going to be doing. I'll probably end up calling this episode 0. This is probably just my overall thoughts on the game as a whole, so you can kind of get an idea of what my opinions are for future reference. If you need to touch base on anything I believe, on any of my opinions, you can look at this video for a tell-all analysis of my thoughts. Alright, I suppose I'll just start with my overall opinion. Great video game. Absolutely wonderful. It is the best strategy game, best tactics game I've ever played. That's because it's the only one I've played, besides 4 hours of Into the Breach. I did that just to make sure I didn't fundamentally hate the genre before Mewgenics came out, and I did not hate it, and now we're here. I think it's a very nice game. It's very fun. I usually hate turn-based games, so I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did, really, especially from someone coming from a game like Isaac. I was really just interested because it was Edmund Macmillan, and I like cats. Those were my two things that really brought me in. But, it's a very nice game. It's very fun. It's very easy to get into. I haven't fully 100%ed it yet. I have done the true ending. I've seen all of it. I haven't done, impossible mode and all that stuff. I've done a couple solo runs. Not a couple. I've almost fully completed Butcher on solo, because Butcher is my favorite class. Very good. I love hooks, and I love meat. So, I think I was the target audience for when they were developing that. And boy, was I pleased, All of the classes are fun, though. Not just Butcher. That's one of my favorite things about the game. As opposed to Into the Breach, which is really, I mean, I'm going to have to compare things. My two big comparisons will be Isaac and Into the Breach, because those are the two most closely related things. I know much more about Isaac than I do Into the Breach, so if you're a hardcore Into the Breach gamer, I might say some things that are just wrong, and I'm fine with that, because I'm perfectly willing to admit I'm wrong when it comes to Into the Breach, because I hold no opinion towards that game. I just don't care about it at all. But the thing I really liked about Mewgenics, as opposed to Into the Breach, was the classes. In Into the Breach, every unit you have, they kind of just do one thing. They have their bread and butter that they do, their main attack. And you can't really do more than, like, at most, like, maybe 3 things with an individual unit at once. And that's just kind of lame to me. I like the variety of the classes. There's enough abilities in the class pools to kind of know what you're getting when you select one, but not have it be the same every round, or every run, I suppose. It's I think 75, roughly, is the amount. I don't know if it's exact that every time. I know I heard the number 75 somewhere. I think that's a very good amount, because it's enough to where it's different, not enough to where you can't reliably get skills you like somewhat consistently. One thing I do also like, I love how snappy the gameplay feels. It feels very impactful. Everything you do feels like it has a big impact. A lot of it's with the sound design, really. The sounds are wonderful. Every attack feels like it really hits, except when it doesn't, in which case that's good that it doesn't sound like it did if it didn't hit very hard. That's called good sound design. Especially the crits. The crits feel I feel like I've destroyed a house whenever I crit something, even if it wasn't a very good crit. I feel like I have accomplished something large. I feel like a building has crumbled whenever I hear that sound effect, and I see the big number with the 3 exclamation points. I think, wow, I'm really good at this. I'm a natural at getting lucky. And I am a natural at getting lucky, so it's good that I feel that way, because I don't like to deny the truth. I don't really have much to say overall in this first one. The future episodes, I suppose, if you want to call them that, episodes, videos, talks, whatever, presentations, whatever floats your little boat, you can call it whatever, I don't mind. They will be more specific into specific aspects of the game. My first idea for future things is class overviews. Just go really in depth on one class. Probably go in order of how you unlock them, or how I unlocked them, because the order varies. Depending on how you played the game, we will go in my order, because that order is true to me, and I'm the one doing the talking. Aside from gameplay, this is a good thing to talk about here. I love the world. I love the world of Mewgenics. I love the characters. Tink was my favorite. That man really stood out to me. He kinda, I think he embodies a lot of what I stand for, whether it be shitting on people's tables, or saying really strange things to people. I really felt connected with him in a way I haven't felt connected with many other video game characters, truly. So that was a wonderful thing for me to experience. But all of the characters are nice. The weakest is Baby Jack, but I've heard that there's more to him that we'll see in the future. And I don't dislike Baby Jack at all. Beanies, Dr. Thomas A. Beanies, was surprisingly compelling to me as a not really antagonist or protagonist, kind of just a force. I guess he's more of an antagonist than a protagonist. Definitely not a good man, with all of the cats he grinds up and turns into various greases and fluids and fuels and all that. But I found it very interesting, it feels strange to say, talking about Mewgenics, but the themes I found to be very compelling. Spoiler warning, if you haven't seen the real ending, the true ending, we're gonna be full throttle into spoiler land here. But the twist at the end is that you're playing as Isaac's mom from hit game The Binding of Isaac the entire time. And with the final boss literally being God, that's kind of, I find it it's very compelling, the commentary on how some people are so unwilling to admit that they did anything wrong. And for Magdalene to go so far just to convince herself that she was at no fault, to literally kill the God that she worshipped so much, to literally attempt to destroy it and get revenge on it for something she perceives as its fault, when in reality it was all her. That's pretty real, I would say. A lot of people are like that. Obviously not to the extent of literally trying to eliminate their higher power because they screwed up. But there's a lot of people who have that same mindset of, I can do no wrong, and therefore nothing is my fault. And I've known people like that, and it's very grating to go through. So having a game that kind of talks about that and dismantles it in a way that I found to be very fun and engaging, and just stupid enough to keep me compelled for my sense of comedy, to keep me laughing and giggling, but still have a good message at the end. I thought that was very well done. I think Ed did a very good job with that. Another thing to talk about with that, the music seems like a bit of a non sequitur, but Dig Your Own Grave, the song that plays during the final boss, really, if you listen to the whole thing, like in game, it's so, like, the version they uploaded, I think Ridiculon has been getting a lot of shit for kind of bunging up the OST uploads, and I saw that Matthias said that they're done, and I fully understand. I respect that. That's their decision to make. Truly, they're not, like, taking down fan uploads or anything, so you can kind of just go watch that. Like, if they were taking down fan uploads, that'd be one thing, but, like, you have what you want already. It's just not, like, from the official source. But either way, when you listen to Dig Your Own Grave in game, it really ramps up. It elevates the fight. It makes you feel like, it makes you feel almost guilty. Not really, because it's Mewgenics, so I don't feel much moral, I don't feel much moral complication when it comes to me playing. But the lyrics are wonderful. I love the chorus of "just step back" for the first phase. It feels like you're almost, it feels like you have one last chance to go away. And it feels like, God is very much portrayed as a good force in this game, which is another thing I like. I feel like if they tried to make it like, oh, God sucks, that'd just be kind of edgy and kind of dumb. Like, I think Isaac was already a very good critique of that, and I feel like if they tried to make God some kind of evil thing, it would kind of undo any nuance that Isaac had, which is one of Isaac's best strengths, I'd say, when it comes to story, the nuance. If they made God out to be a villain in this game, it would undermine that severely, so I'm glad they didn't. But the lyrics of "just step back," it's like, you should just step back. You shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You should just go away. And, it feels like by continuing the fight, you're kind of, you're going against that, and that makes the last phase hit so much harder, where Matthias is just yelling and screaming at you, much like he did all those years ago with Living in the Light. It really reminded me of that in the best way possible. Matthias does that voice very well. The preacher. I know that he has apparently that was one of his, iconic gaffes, and, one of his, party tricks, as it were, previously, even before Isaac, the preacher voice. He could always pull that one out, it seems. But yeah, I loved the story. I really did, more than I thought I would. It's not in your face at all, but it's very much there when you look for it. Even little background details. The plot is very nice. I loved it. It was very fun to go through. The thing with Butch and Tink most likely being some form of conjoined twin at some point, and then Beanies took them apart, and you can see it when you look at them. Like, their face and their voice is extremely similar. You'd expect, when I first played it, it was strange to me that Butch had such a, like, kind of high-pitched, like, voice. You'd expect it to be, deeper, more aggressive for the character that he is, especially whenever Frank has a, like, much deeper thing going on, so it's not like they didn't want to do that. But whenever you consider the fact that him and Tink are brothers, it really does make sense. They sound very similar. Sound different enough to where you can tell, but similar enough to when you know that little tidbit, you can kind of go like, you can point at the screen, and you can open your mouth, and you can shout, "I hear it, I hear the resemblance, and I believe that these two paper doll men in the video game are related, and were at one point attached to each other." Tracy also. I love Tracy. Kind of just gonna finish off the little NPC talk here. Beanies kind of turned into its own little discussion, but that's what this is about. Little discussions, just background noise to pop on, have Mewgenics seep through your ears and into your soul, just like God intended. But to finish out the NPCs, Tracy, I love Tracy. Tracy's very fun. I enjoy how aggressive she is. I enjoy how they don't, like, it's very, I'm pretty sure Edmund, I don't know what his opinions on PETA are, really. Because I know that Tofu Boy was a thing that happened. And I'm sure when you look at that, the two possible reactions to being the guy who made Super Meat Boy, and then seeing that Super Tofu Boy is the thing that exists, the only two possible reactions are, "I fucking hate you," or "This is the funniest thing that's ever happened." And I feel like Ed probably had the funniest thing that ever happened reaction. Especially since he put Tofu Boy in the game. Like, actually, he's just there, and he sucks so hard. I think he was kind of just making a little joke out of it. And, that's great. It's a good attitude to have whenever you're made fun of in a, I guess, I don't know what they were trying to do. I'm not going to talk about this too much, because this is not related at all. I don't know what the hell PETA was thinking, because Super Meat Boy isn't about, like, I guess it is about, like, the meat industry, but it's not, like, really, I haven't played it much, I don't know, so it might be, and I might just be wrong, but, like, it's not saying anything, it's not, like, pro-animal slaughter, it's also not anti-animal slaughter. I think the only connection it has is that this is a boy made of meat, and I think the reason he's made of meat is not due to any, moral standpoint. I think it's because Edmund McMillan said, "I want a guy who's made of meat that runs around and gets blood on the wall." I think that's why that happened. Not out of any, willingness to provide a viewpoint. But anyway, back on track with PETA. Tracy does seem very clearly, a parody of that kind of person, taken to an extreme. And I know PETA did give Tracy Newkirk, the woman, the myth, the legend herself, a certificate of some kind. I don't recall what type of certificate it was specifically. I think it was Hero to Animals or something, which, I'll be honest, Hero, I don't know about that one. She kind of just works at a store that I'm pretty sure turns cats into food. I don't know. I think maybe Hero is a bit much. She's a hero in the same way that I am a hero currently. And the feeling I got of intense shame and and narcissism when I said that should tell you that I am not a hero, and I don't think she truly is either, but, you know, she's more of a hero than not, I'd say. So I do love that she has that award. Good for her. Good for Tracy. I guess, you know, Frank, he's fun. He's kind of dumb. He's kind of stupid. He's very odd. I don't have much to say about Frank. It's fun that he takes over Beanie's body at the end. That was his big thing. And I like how he says he likes retired cats because he's kind of retired too. I liked that line. And this is the best Franken day of all times. That one rings true to me. Because, you know, I've had really Franken good days in my life. And, you know, I think that's the best way to describe it. Best Franken day of all times, you know? Really captures the mood. There's also Organ Grinder. He talks about pus and boils and worms. And fuck yeah. W Organ Grinder. Alright, now that I've gotten my thoughts, very general thoughts, kind of went a bit in depth on the story and the NPCs, but general thoughts out of the way, I'd like to talk about the reception to the game in general. It was not, I don't want to say it wasn't as positive as I thought, because it was generally very positive. Not as big, I guess, would be the term. Because you look, there were I think 130,000 around there. Maybe 110,000, I don't remember. But a pretty high amount of concurrent players when it came out. But now it's at like 10,000-ish. And I'd say this is a very worthy successor to Isaac, truly. So I was surprised by that. I thought this would be much more of a global phenomenon. Not global. I guess as global as Isaac. That's what I was expecting, but it seems to kind of have gotten a more niche reception, I suppose. Seems to be much less widespread, which honestly I kind of enjoy. I like more tight-knit communities, and this is a community that's not so small to where you see videos and all of the most popular people get 50 views a video. I've seen communities like that before, and it's very depressing, and I'm happy it's not like this. My favorite game of all time, Nuclear Throne, one of those games. I see a video about Nuclear Throne, I saw one that had 15,000 views, and I was like, holy fuck, we're so back. We're gonna take over the world now. I'm glad Mewgenics isn't in that boat, because it doesn't deserve to be. Nuclear Throne doesn't either, but that's a whole nother story. But I love tiny communities that aren't that small, but small enough to feel like you have a chance of, you know, making an impact if you do something that could, you know, be considered impressive or cool or just kind of fun. You know, the chances of a large part of the community seeing it go up, the smaller it is, which is always nice. That's part of why I wanted to do this, you know? Even if this only gets realistically, it's only going to get maybe 100 views if I hope in my heart and my soul with all my body, if I hope as much as I possibly can, maybe 100 views. But, you know, that's enough for me, truly. Not saying I wouldn't like more, but, I mean, hey, 100, that's 100 times something has been watched, and that's a lot of times. Watch something for 100 times. That's a lot of times. Truly. It doesn't seem like a lot on YouTube, but it is a lot, objectively. But either way, it's not that big of a game. And a lot of the reception it has gotten has been positive for the most part. And honestly, I'm someone who I don't have many problems with it, really, that I can think of that aren't just nitpicks, I'd say. My big thing is I wish there was a way to change the speed of the game while you're playing. Like a fast forward button or keybind that you can hold down. Because there's some enemies, like the fucking hot pokers in the core, they can just go on forever. and I wish I could just hold down a button and just like speed it up and then stop immediately whenever they're done, instead of having to go in the settings every time. That's legitimately my biggest complaint with the game, which should tell you how much I enjoy it. Not saying that's the only thing wrong with the game. That's definitely not the case, I'd say. I just, games, I'd say for the most part they're subjective, especially single-player games are very subjective, and for me, very little wrong with it. But honestly, a lot of the complaints I have seen seem kind of dumb. Not like inhumanly dumb. Like, I could see how someone could have the opinion, and I'm not like baffled by it. But there's people who like beat the whole game, like impossible mode on every class, all the solo runs, within like 3 weeks of it coming out. And that is ridiculous to me. I don't see how you do that. And like, and people who did this made videos immediately after, like ranting about it. And it's like, oh, it gets stale after a while. You do anything for 3 weeks straight. Put 300 hours into anything for 3 weeks straight in less than a month. Do something for 300 hours, and if you're not bored of it, what the thing you were doing was some type of drug. That's the only way you didn't get bored, if it was something that chemically altered your brain. That's the only scenario you don't get bored, doing something for 300 hours in the course of 3 weeks. And like, I don't know, like, I don't think, it didn't get stale to me. I'm still having a grand old time playing this game. It's been months. I don't know how long I've played off the top of my head. Something like, I don't know, 200 something hours, I think. Maybe 300, maybe 100, around there. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's a long time. For objectively a very long time. And I'm not bored of it. I'm having a great time still. I love this game. And that's because I didn't play it for 18 fucking years in the span of 3 weeks. I didn't fucking dilate time to cram an ungodly amount of Mewgenics in within 3 weeks. And that means I actually am having fun with the game. And I really think, like, not that the complaints are invalid. Like, there's one complaint that's invalid. The shittiest complaint I've heard about this game is that the house stuff is bad, or it takes too long, or it's not in depth, which is just wrong. It does take a long time. That's not because it's paced badly, that's just because it's a really long game. And if you gave a lot of house shit at the beginning, you could just make any cat you wanted off rip. So it's just balancing. It's not like a pacing issue. You can argue that the game shouldn't be that long, I guess, but like, I don't know. I don't think that's a good thing to argue, right? Like, it's kind of just steadily paced throughout, I'd say. The pacing is good, it's just a lot to pace. And, if you don't like it, that's fine. This game's not for you, I guess. Not for you. The pacing isn't for you, and that's fine. But it is for me. I enjoyed it. And people say, like, I've heard conflicting opinions on the breeding. People say that the breeding is... People say both that the breeding is worthless and that it's overpowered. And, I think that means that it's a very good system. Because if you have fucking 3 stooges playing the game and looking at the computer and being like, I don't know what to do here, and they're like, it's useless because I don't know what's happening, that means it's complicated enough to be confusing to morons. And then if it's able to be utilized to a full potential by someone who actually has a brain enough to be considered overpowered by someone, I think that just means they did it right. I think that means they hit the mark, hit the nail on the head with the balancing. People say it's overpowered. You can get, like, anything, basically. You can kind of just craft any build you want from the beginning when you get really late into the game. With the breeding, you can kind of just... Apologies, that was my real cat. That was a real animal in the real world. I'll put a picture of her on screen. She's very cute, but she does scream, much like the bird from the beginning. It's very similar. If you heard that, you can kind of get an idea of what the bird sounded like. But anyway, people say the breeding is overpowered because you can just get anything from the beginning of a run towards the late game. And, you know, that's not a bad thing. Guys, it's not bad that that can be done, because you have the choice to not do it. People are like, you have to artificially nerf yourself towards the end. Then just do that. You have the choice. It's not like it's a Herculean effort to not make an overpowered cat. You just don't care. You can just, like, grab strays and take them on runs. If you really just don't want any, like, possible advantage from the start, you can just do that. There's no reason not to. And if you couldn't do that, that's another thing you'd complain about, right? Like, if you couldn't make anything from the start, people would be like, the breeding is artificially limited, because it doesn't let me make any combo I want. So, I feel like that's a much worse complaint to have if you just put bars on it for no fucking reason other than some guy can't stop himself, like a heroin addict or something. You, like, have to do fucking nail flurry, fucking flow state every run, or else you disintegrate. That guy is gonna have a worse time, but everyone else is gonna be okay. I saw one fucking video. I don't want to call this person. I called someone out one time on another channel of mine, or this channel. I don't know if I'm gonna make this thing its own channel. I've been leaning towards its own channel. I don't know. You'll know the answer. But I did another video at some point where I dunked on some guy for a stupid fucking take she had. It was diabolical, and you know, that was very stressful, because she got harassed. That sucks. You know, I don't like that. But, like, also on another hand, it was kind of awesome. Like, just to have made something that was apparently viewed so correct that people decided to harass the person I was talking about over it. You know, I mean, I'm not saying it was a good feeling, because, like, I felt guilt, and I felt bad. But, like, also, I was happy I had the ability to feel bad about it. You know, I felt like I made an impact. I should probably stop talking. This is making me sound like a horrible person. My point is, I don't want to call anyone out anymore, because I felt a pit in my stomach filled with guilt and shame whenever I did it. So I'm not going to say who made this. Someone made a stupid video about, like, the Steven Safe Scum mechanic, and how it was, like, bad and dumb and stupid. And like, tell me you want to be able to cheat without telling me you want to be able to cheat. Because that's what you want when you say that mechanic is bad. You're saying you just want to cheat. Like, what cheating is... They were saying, like, safe scumming isn't cheating. Yes, it is. And it's not because, like, in other games, safe scumming is cheating. In other games, safe scumming is just a thing you can do, right? Like, I wouldn't say that's cheating, just to utilize something the game lets you do. But in Mewgenics, it doesn't let you do it. So it's cheating. It's not like a opinion, it just objectively is. The game says that what you're doing is cheating. That's not like an opinion anymore. And, like, at that point, you're just saying that you get to make the rules of the game, when that's not how games work. Who makes the person who makes the game makes the rules. You know, objectively. And if you want to personally deviate from that, that's fine. But, like, saying that objectively it's not true is just wrong. And they were saying, like I don't know. I don't want to make fun of someone for this, but, like, at the same time I really do. They were like, whenever I opened the game and Steven yelled at me, it made me feel bad. I felt like I was being attacked. It felt personal. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that that's how it made you feel. But also, you know, people play Marvel Rivals every day and have just the most horrible things said about them because they wanted to play a Marvel character that they like. And, you know, that's not a crime, and people are punished far worse than Steven saying he's gonna Bloody Mary you. That's, you know, that's my opinion on it. especially when it's not a real person. They acted like Steven was some guy that, like, wasn't intended to be put in the game. They acted like they were live streaming, and, like, Steven just was in the chat, yelling at them when they save scummed. When it was very much, when it's the game saying this to you. It's not, like, someone's opinion. It's just, whatever. I'm gonna quit talking about this. It's fucking, I'm just gonna keep ranting or raving about stupid fucking Steven take. But they also, alright, I'm not done. They called him Steve. They called the Steven Steve, and that's how I know that you know nothing. That's how you are. This is fucking LARP in its truest form. I fucking hate the word LARP just because it's so overused. I hate anything that's popular. I guess, I don't know, but you called him Steve. That's how I know that you have no fucking idea what an Edmund McMillan is. You probably didn't play Isaac. Sure as shit didn't play Time Fuck, and you know what? I didn't either, but at least I know that the character's name is Steven and not Steve. It's not Minecraft, not Jack Black. Okay, I'm done with that. We gotta stop here, or we're gonna have to do another episode about that whole thing. But anyway, you know, that's about it, I guess. You know, truly, that's all I have to say for this one. Can't think of anything else to say about this game right now. You know, probably record another episode, maybe in a week or two, weekly. I think I said this was likely weekly earlier. I don't know if that was the failed recording or if it was this one, but either way, likely a weekly thing. I would enjoy that, and I hope you would enjoy it too. I hope you enjoyed this. Whatever this was, I hope you had a fun time listening to it, you know? This is the kind of content I would want to watch about this game. Just someone talking. Just have it in the background, you know? Just have it. Something you can just listen to while you're doing something else, playing Minecraft or Mewgenics, you know. That's probably what you're playing, maybe. I don't know. Would you listen to a game, like a video about a game while you're playing the game? I don't know. That's a completely different philosophical debate that we'll have to save for another time. But what the time of right now is for is saying goodbye, I suppose. So, goodbye, Mewgenics fans, Mewgenics haters, I suppose, if you made it this far. If you were hoping, when you saw the title that said General Thoughts, you hoped I would be hating on it and calling it garbage and worst game of all time because you got Blood Frenzy, even though Blood Frenzy isn't really even that bad. You know, if you sat through it, hey, more respect to you, right? But either way, that's about it. Might record another one right after this, talking about my favorite class, the Butcher, or I won't. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just sit down on my fat ass and just think about where I went wrong. Either way, it'll be a hell of a lot of fun. Alright, see you. Goodbye.